Hey guys, it's Marty, and this is my first video for Red 301 AM. If you'll recall, only Day 1 fans will remember, but I made a couple videos on an individual channel last year telling stories. And so now that we made this group channel, I'm just gonna continue doing that same thing, telling you guys stories. And so this is actually a really great time for me to resume making videos because I have had a crazy summer. I've just been traveling around a lot, having a lot of interesting experiences. So I'm gonna tell you guys today about one of my summer adventures. So I'm gonna tell you guys about my experience in Alaska. So I was in Alaska for 1 month, and I was doing quality control on salmon tenders. So first I'm gonna just try to answer some background context questions about what is this job, what's a tender, blah blah blah. So earlier this year I applied for an internship. I applied for a single internship for this summer, and I got rejected. And so I was talking with one of my friends and I was like, damn, I really got rejected from this internship. True. Well, I tried. I guess I'm doing nothing this summer. And then he was like, you know what you should do is go to Alaska this summer. And I was like, is that what I should do? And he was like, yeah, it's a great job that you can do, just quality control. It's super chill. And so I was like, okay, give me the deets, give me the information, tell me who I should contact. And so he did, and so I emailed the guy who runs the quality control program. So then we did a Skype interview, and I thought the interview went pretty well. And then at the very end of the Skype call, he was like, all right, I just have one more question. And I was like, okay, what is it? And he said, do you want a job? And I was like, okay, that was easy, yeah, sure. Yeah, I want a job. So that was it. It was also cool because airfare is covered from Seattle to Naknek, Alaska, where the job is. Everyone has to get themselves to Seattle. But the expensive part is getting to Alaska, so it's it's a pretty good deal. Okay, so just to explain to you guys what this job actually was. So the way it works is that the fishing boats go out and they fish, and then they need to go somewhere like the cannery and offload their fish and get some sort of proof of sale, fish ticket, receipt, whatever, and then they go back and fish and do it again and again. But the thing is, at least in Alaska, the fishing sites are pretty far away from where the canneries are. So they have these ships called tenders, which are about 100 feet long, so really big. And they are the middleman between the fishing boats and the canneries. And so the fishing boats will go out to their fishing sites and just fish and fish. The tender will be in the general vicinity of the fishing site, and then instead of having to go all the way back to the cannery at the dock, the fishing boats can just go to the tender, which is pretty nearby, offload their fish, and then continue fishing. About every couple days or so, the tender will go back to the cannery to offload, and then go back to the fishing boats, get more fish, go back to the cannery, offload, just again and again. Bristol Bay, which is where I was working, has, I think, the biggest salmon run in the world. So the canneries, they have a big incentive to try to make sure that the salmon is the highest quality that it can be, so that they can sell it for more per pound. So my job in this process was really simple. When the fishing boats would come to the tender to offload their fish, first I would ask if they were chilling their fish, which means if they had a system for keeping the fish cold on their fishing boat, they would tell me yes or no. If they say no, then I don't have to do anything. It's called a dry boat. You don't have to temp the fish. If they say yes, then I ask how they're chilling them, and then I take a small sample of fish from a couple bags, and then take their temperatures, write the temperatures down, give that little slip to whoever is writing the fish ticket, the receipt. Based on the numbers that I would get for the temperatures, they either would get the chilling bonus, which is an extra amount per pound that the cannery would pay them for their fish if they were nice and cold, or they wouldn't get the bonus. So if you're thinking to yourself that it's a bit of a contentious relationship between the quality control tech and the fishermen. This is true, but it ended up being fine, most of the time. It was like cool. So yeah, where was I living? I was living on the tender. And so I was pretty much for a month straight, I was on the water. Yeah, so the tenders were big enough to where they had full-size kitchens, they had bedrooms, they had, that's pretty much what they had. But yeah, I mean, they were just set up like mini houses, and then you would have like a lot of deck space and like under which the fish would be stored. So yeah, basically in my free time, what would I do? I would take a lot of naps. I would sometimes read, but usually like read a few pages and then that would just segue into a nap. I would talk a lot with the crewmen of the tender, just about like anything, I don't know, life. We didn't talk a lot about how our days went because like it's a very small space and we were all around to witness each other's days. I watched a fair number of movies, which was cool. I saw Scarface. I also saw the one with Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, that's what that's called. Yeah. Saw Into the Wild. I saw Lost in Translation. So yeah, lots of movies. Learning how to tie knots. That was another thing I did with my time. I haven't been practicing since I came back, so I'm worried that I forgot some of them. But, so if you see me in person, ask me about it, because that'll hold me accountable, and I don't want to forget the knots that I learned. And I was tying line. I wasn't tying rope. I was tying line, because I'm in with the lingo. Okay, so I hope that kind of covers like the basics of what this was. If you have any other questions, you can like comment and I'll try to answer. So I want to get into the story that I'm going to tell you guys. So I wasn't just on one tender also. I was on 12 tenders total. And I was also on one fishing boat for one night, which was unplanned but fine. Of those 13 different boats that I was on, 11 of them had perfectly wonderful, great, kind, normal people. They were super nice to me. We just talked a lot, watched a lot of movies, hung out. Everything was great. 2 of the tenders I was on had some issues, I would say. And so I'm gonna tell you guys about one of those tenders. So the way that we get from tender to tender is not by jumping, but like the tenders tie up to each other, and then you just swing your leg over one railing and over the other, and then like, you know, there's like people on both sides. Sometimes there's kind of an awkward height difference. Sometimes there's like waves. Sometimes there's wind, rain, whatever. And so sometimes it can be kind of dicey. So first of all, I really was not even too keen on getting on this tender to begin with because this was just one of those times. So the boats were really just going like together, apart, whatever, all types of ways because the waves were acting up. So I actually was going on this tender with one of my coworkers. And so the boats roll together, she hops over, it's like all chill. And so I'm really just sitting there like, the crewmen from the other tender are over there like, come on over, it'll be fine, just jump, just come on. And I'm like, I had a very good boss for this job, okay? And he made it very clear at the beginning that if we felt uncomfortable in a transition from tender to tender, that we didn't have to go. And we could just ride the damn tender back to the dock. So like, y'all really think I'm trying to lose my life or wellness over some damn fish? So it was really getting to a point where I was like, if this takes much longer, I'm gonna just tell them to go on their way and then I can chill on this tender, and we can go back to the dock, figure something else out. They already have one QC on board, so it's fine. But fortunately, even though it ended up being unfortunate, the boats came together, and then I was able to get over. Whatever. So then we're both over, both my coworker and I. All the tenders are like named, and they're all named after women. So we're gonna call it the Maryland. So we get on the Maryland, mission accomplished. The crew's like introducing themselves, greeting us, and they're like, "Hoo-wee, it's a nice day out today, man. I just might have to go sunbathing on the roof. Jesus. Do you guys want some eggs?" Oh, wait, actually, we ran out of eggs. We ran out of most breakfast foods, so just see what you want in the kitchen just to help yourself to anything. But yeah, welcome aboard. I was like, I really think it's about 1 week into the season, so the fact that y'all are out of breakfast food at this point, it gives me pause. Not panicking, but a little bit confused. So we were like, okay, thanks. Cool. Yeah, glad to be here. Nice. So we finished talking to Derek. So Jesse and I go to the roof of the boat, just hang out. And it is a really sunny day out. And so we're just hanging out there. And then we were really only there for a few minutes before another crewman came to the roof. And so his introduction to me was something like, "What about you? Are you offended by pot? Because you're gonna be smelling it." Hello to you too. Like, I just don't understand why I needed that level of hostility at that moment. I literally had just met him. And he just came on the roof. Whatever. So I was like, I'm fine. I love pot's great. Yeah, no problem. All right, good. So then we go back down from the roof to the deck of the boat, and the captain's there. And so Jesse's already met the captain because she was already on the boat, but I wanted to introduce myself to him. So I go up to him, and literally the first thing he says to me is, "Where do you hail from?" Where am I? Like, have I gone in like a time machine or like to a different realm of human existence in the ether? Like, where do I hail from? Like, now I've gotten asked where I'm from upon first meeting people enough times to know what he was getting at, but I was like, why? Okay. It was weird. It was just weird. And so I was like, yeah, my parents, they were born in Ethiopia. Yeah. So what this is all about, yeah, the whole being brown thing, it's like weird, yeah. So his next statement was, "Oh, Haile Selassie! Oh, yeah, I know a few things about Ethiopia, okay. This is gonna be fun." So he's like talking to me about Ethiopia and like Haile Selassie and the Italians and like whatever. And I also just don't even know that much about Ethiopian history. Like, I was born and raised in the United States, so I was just like, yeah, like, and then that happened, and oh my god, Italy, like, what's up with that? So at this point, I'm just like, what is up with people on this boat and introducing themselves? Like, so Kevin, my captain on this tender, did not end our wonderful conversation there at our discussion of Ethiopia. He continued. "So, let me guess. I'm guessing you guys voted for Hilarity Clinton." Yeah, I called her Hilarity because that's what she is. Now, I don't have any problem with the idea of gun reform, but if you want to change the Constitution, you have to go about it the right way. You have to go in the Constitution and change it. That's all I'm saying. And I mean, just the fact that she made up all this stuff about Donald Trump and the Russians and collusion. I mean, how desperate are you? Make America great again. I'm just trying to steer this conversation to a place where it's not deeply uncomfortable. So I was just like, oh, did you build this boat yourself? Like, how long ago? What was that like? Okay, sorry, I had to change location real quick. So yeah, so I asked him if he built the boat, how long ago, blah, blah, blah. And so he said, yeah, I sure did. And I'm real proud of her too. I started building Maryland in 97, finished in 2007, moved in full-time 2002 because my girlfriend kicked me out, but I don't know what she's so damn mad about when she makes about twice as much as I do. So yeah, I think it's a, pretty nice boat. This is a lot of personal information and I'm uncomfortable. So it really got to a point the conversation could not be salvaged. I was like, all right, cool talking to you, glad to meet you, I'm gonna go over here. So Jesse and I went back to the kitchen. I mean, time was ticking on and we still hadn't eaten anything. So I was like, let's just check out what's in the fridge. In the fridge, I'm just gonna include pictures of what the food situation was on this boat. And y'all can evaluate for yourselves if you think that there was a significant amount to eat. After we got off this tender also, people on the dock told us that there was a girl who was on this tender in a previous year who said that she just ate oatmeal for 3 days straight. 3 days straight oatmeal, like let that sink in. What the fuck? But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know anyone else had a bad experience on that boat at the time. So I was like, okay, this is the situation. So we go to the roof. We're a bit taken aback because Derek is just... Hoo-wee, it's a nice day out today. Man, I just might have to go sunbathing on the roof. I personally didn't take him seriously, but I guess that's fine. The thing with Derek was that, like, he wasn't mean or anything, but he just did not know when to leave you alone. So we went up to the roof and he was there, and then he realized that we were there, and then he left, and then he came back with some blankets for us to lay on. And we were like, oh cool, thanks. And like at another point we had gone to the kitchen and like scrambled up some snacks, and then we went back to the roof and we like were eating our snacks, and then he came up and then like took our like finished dishes for us, like, and then just, and I don't want to sound ungrateful because like I come from an Ethiopian family. I know what really extra hospitality looks like, and I can appreciate it. What Derek was doing just wasn't it. It was like trying to just be around us when we were not trying to hang out. Another issue with this tender was that they had sent 2 of us to work on it, and there simply were not enough beds. Alright girl, so in terms of sleeping tonight, we still have the top bunk open in Derek's room, and we also have the couch in the wheelhouse. So between the 2 of y'all, you can decide. Another thing that was uncomfortable about Kevin, besides talking to him, was just like walking around the boat. Most captains would hang out in the wheelhouse, which is where the steering wheel is, where they can just like look out on the deck, and like listen to the radio and do captain stuff, steer, different things like that. Kevin was not concerned with doing those things, I guess, and he would just hang out in the kitchen, or the galley as it's called, but like without the lights on. Like I would be going to like the fridge for like the 6th time, just like hoping that food had appeared. I would think like that Kevin wasn't there, but sure enough, I like strained my eyes a little bit into the shadows, and he's just like he wouldn't even say hi. He wouldn't make any noise. He wouldn't signal that he was there or like alive in any way. He would just look at you with this like weird smile on his face. And so the shit was creepy. The weirdness on this boat was just a non-stop thing. Another time I walked into the wheelhouse and it was Scott and Kevin in there. One of them asked me where I went to school, and so I said, oh, I go to the University of Chicago. And so Scott's like, Chicago? That's the only city where you have to worry about getting shot. even if you're white. The city has issues with gun violence. I'm gonna walk away. A little later, I go into the galley and Scott is there. And so I just want to be liked by everyone on this boat, and not get into any problems. So I'm trying to make small talk with him. So I was asking him, oh, how long have you been in the fishing industry? And so he tells me, yeah, I've been doing this for many years now. Usually I'm captain. You know, I'm actually retiring. Just helping out on the Maryland for a bit, and then I'm gonna change industries. Carrying on like normal conversation, I was like, what industry are you trying to work in next? And he goes, that's classified. I feel like if it was that touchy of a topic, he didn't have to bring it up, but okay. I live in Mexico, and I have a family and kids and all of that, but I'm only home like, a few weeks out of the year. Yeah, 2 or 3 months I'm up here doing the whole tender thing, and then other than that, I have some businesses that I dabble with, different parts of the states, What about you? Are you offended by pot? Because you're gonna be smelling it. So basically, Scott's a drug dealer is what I'm picking up on. But if you have other thoughts, leave them in the comments below. So y'all already know, before like half this shit happened, I've been texted my boss that this boat was not gonna work, they don't have enough beds, the crew's mad weird, and we're not trying to sleep here. So my boss is a homie, and he texted back saying, don't worry about it, we're gonna get you on a different tender. But the problem was, the next time the Maryland was gonna be going into the dock was at like 3 a.m. So that was a little unfortunate. I think for lunch, somebody made pasta. I mean, like, that was sometime in the afternoon, and then I think we took some fish from boats, and then dinner time came around. Dinner time came and left, actually. Because Jesse and I were hanging out, and we look at the clock, it's like 10 p.m. No one said anything about like eating food, this like weird thing that humans sometimes like to do. So Scott comes up to the wheelhouse where we're hanging out, and we're like, hey, is anyone like hungry? Like, were you guys planning on eating? Because like, if not, like, I guess we don't have to, but like, it'd be cool. So Scott is like, oh, you guys are hungry? You girls actually just missed out, because I had some McDonald's, but now it's all gone. I was like, how do you get McDonald's here on a, like, I don't think there's even a McDonald's in Naknek, like on land. And so he was like, yeah, got a guy who flies down from Anchorage. I feel like paying however much it costs to have McDonald's frozen and flown out to you when you don't even have a kitchen stocked with the normal food that other tenders have is really the definition of bougetto. So he offers to heat up some frozen pizza, and we're like, cool, great, like, sounds great. So he goes to the galley and starts loudly complaining to Kevin about the fact that like these stuck-up brats, quality control people, like, are demanding food. The line that really killed me that we heard was, fuck it, I guess no more pizza till Cordova. So after Bristol Bay, a lot of tenders go to Southeast Alaska, and like continue tendering. But what really got to me was, between the two of us, maybe we eat like one frozen pizza. Why are you acting like our desire for food is like what depleted your resources? The problem is bigger than us. So finally we ate our frozen pizza. That shit tasted bomb because we didn't have much to eat that day. By that point, it might have been like at least like 11, maybe past 11. So it's getting later and later. We're gonna go into the dock at like 3 a.m. Nobody's about to be chilling with Derek in his room. So Jesse and I are literally sharing this couch in the wheelhouse, which is like not wide or particularly long, but whatever. And we also had like not interacted much prior to this day, but I guess we're friends now. And so I really was not trying to fall asleep, but it was getting late as hell and I fell asleep because I was mad tired. The sleeping schedules, as I already said, are very irregular. Sometime around 2:30 in the morning, Jesse's like nudging me to wake up. She's like, Marty, like get up. You need to wake up. I was tired as shit, so I was just like out. And so the Maryland's getting closer to the dock. And so Jesse and I are going around packing up our stuff, making sure we have everything. And so Jesse comes up to me and Jesse's like, dude, we need to like get the fuck off this boat. And I was like, yeah, I know, like, I know. She was like, no, dude, like, you wouldn't wake up, but like, Kevin was watching us sleep.
Watching us sleep.
Okay. Okay. When I tell you I started getting my shit together a little bit faster into my damn bag, what the hell? So yeah, Jessie told me she just woke up and Kevin was there like, just in the dark, as he does, as he do. So finally, the Maryland makes its way to the dock. We get off around like 3:30, I want to say, maybe closer to 4, and we are at peace. We kind of had to wait a while until we got to go on another tender, but that was perfectly fine by me, because we just got to hang out with the guys on the dock who work with like offloading the fish from the tenders and stuff like that. And so we were just talking to them about the Maryland and how the crew was ridiculous. And they told us the story about the girl who ate oatmeal for 3 days straight. So, you know, we had a little gossip session. Now, some of y'all are probably thinking back over the crew and going, okay, well, Kevin, obviously really creepy. Scott, very aggressive for unknown reasons. But was Derek really that bad? Come on, Marty, like he was just trying to be nice to y'all. And I am vindicated because a few weeks later, after the season ended, we come to find out that one of the times that the Maryland went to the dock, there were state troopers waiting there for Derek because he tried to attack someone on the boat. I think it was Scott, but I'm not positive. When you catch the vibe, you catch the vibe. I do have to say I really appreciate the way that my boss handled the situation. He didn't make me explain myself when I asked to change tenders. I just told him I was uncomfortable and that I like needed to switch, and he was fine with it. I really hope that this doesn't come off as me making light of a serious issue. I think workplace harassment is really, really terrible. But storytelling and making jokes is the way that I process my life. So that's my story from Alaska. I hope you guys liked it. I hope it was entertaining. Like I said, if there's anything else you want to know about my Alaska experience, feel free to comment. Also, it was literally 100 times more good than it was bad. I had so much fun in Alaska. I'll probably be going to do this job again next summer. I just figured I would tell you guys about one ridiculous day that I had out of the 30 days that I was out there. So yeah, bye. It actually wasn't even just a 3-man boat. There was a 4th guy on there, Jordan, who was actually very nice. Jenny told me that she was talking to Jordan, and he said something like, hey, you know that tender over there, the dolphin that was having some problems, if you hear that they need some help, let them know that I'm available. Yeah, because I want to help. Yeah. Which really killed me.